Hello, thank you for joining us today on your channel of choice. At this time, this is Code Files on Third Eye Africa TV, reaching you from the nation's capital here in Abuja. My name is Charles Agedu, and I'm your host on this program. I am also here today, not alone to do this program. I'll be introducing a guest to you. At this junction, I will take a quick break and just give you an intro to what we will be discussing today on the program. Thereafter, I will introduce you to a guest with me in the studio here who will be doing justice to some of these, particularly this case in question that will be under review on the program today. Please stick around, don't go away. The program come your way again shortly after this break. Numerous corruption, criminal, and fraud cases continue to linger in Nigeria, eroding public trust in the justice system. Recently, the Nigerian Bar Association Anti-Corruption Committee (NBAACC) warned that unresolved cases undermine confidence in the judiciary and threatened accountability and transparency. The NBAACC acknowledged progress in 2025 towards institutionalizing anti-corruption measures. However, it raised concerns over persistent delays and silence surrounding high-profile corruption allegations involving lawyers. The committee said that while the NBA recorded progress in institutionalizing anti-corruption measures in 2025, prolonged silence and delays around high-profile corruption allegations posed serious risk to accountability and transparency. One of these high-profile corruption allegations cases is the trial of former Kogi State Governor Yahaya Bello over an alleged 110.4 billion fraud. Bello is being prosecuted by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission (EFCC) alongside Uman Shaibu Orisha and Abdusalami Hudu on a 16-count charge bordering on criminal breach of trust and money laundering. The trial of former Kogi State Governor Yahaya Adoza Bello before Justice Mariani Aneni of the Federal Capital Territory High Court, Maitama, Abuja, resumed January 15 and 16, 2026 for continuation of trial after the exchanges on Wednesday, November 13, 2025, when the defense counsel cross-examined the sixth prosecution witness, Mashelia Aria Bata, a compliance officer with Zenith Bank. At the resumed trial on Thursday, January 15, 2026, the prosecution team, led by Kemi Pinero, SAN, informed the court that the case was stated for further cross-examination of prosecution witness 6, PW6, Mashelia Aria Bata, a compliance officer with Zenith Bank, who was present in court. The Economic and Financial Crimes Commission (EFCC) tendered more bank records as evidence through prosecution witness 6, Mashelia Aria Bata, a compliance officer with Zenith Bank, prosecution witness 8, Gabriel Ocha, a compliance officer with FCMB, and also a short witness from Keystone Bank, prosecution witness 7, Mohammed Bello Hassan. After cross-examinations by counsels to the first and second defendants, J.B. Dauda, SAN, Z.B. Abbas then cross-examined the witness on behalf of A.M. Aliyu, SAN, counsel to the third defendant. Justice Mariani Aneni thereafter adjourned the matter till Friday, January 16, 2026 for continuation of trial. As the trial continued Friday, January 16, a witness of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission (EFCC), a compliance officer with Sterling Bank, the ninth prosecution witness (PW9), David Ajoda, said Kogi Internal Revenue Service (KSIRS) paid the sum of 1,164,929,500 569 naira as commission to tax consultant between January to August 2019. After cross-examinations by counsels to the first and second, then the third defendants, the trial of the former Kogi State Governor Yahaya Bello was adjourned to February 10 and 11, 2026 for continuation of trial. It will be recalled that the EFCC was scheduled to arraign Yahaya Bello on April 18, 2024. After securing a warrant for his arrest on April 17, EFCC operatives attempted to apprehend Bello at his Wuse Zone 4 Abuja residence, but were unable to do so. Bello purportedly left the premises in convoy with the current Kogi State Governor, Usman Ododo, who is protected by constitutional immunity. Yahaya Bello, popularly known as the White Lion, faces at least 3 corruption cases filed by the EFCC in different Abuja courts. At the Federal Capital Territory High Court, Maitama, before Justice Mariani Aneni. On December 10, 2024, Bello was arraigned on 16-count charge involving 110.4 billion for criminal breach of trust and money laundering. The EFCC alleged that Bello, along with Umar Shaibu Orisha and Abdulsalami Hudu, used Kogi State funds to acquire properties both in Nigeria and abroad, including an apartment in Dubai's Burj Khalifa. Bello pleaded not guilty. The court denied his bail application, ruling it premature since he had not been arrested or appeared in court, and remanded him in Kuje Correctional Center. Co-defendants Orisha and Hudu were granted bail of 300 million each, with 2 sureties in like sum. The trial was adjourned to January 29, 2025. At the Federal High Court, Abuja, before Justice Emeka Nwite, on December 13, 2024, Bello, along with Ali Bello, Dauda Suleiman, and Abdulsalami Hudu, was accused of converting over 80.2 billion in public funds for personal use, contrary to the Money Laundering Prohibition Act 2011. Bello again pleaded not guilty, but this time the court granted him bail of 500 million with 2 sureties. The simultaneous court proceedings led to confusion as another court had previously denied Bello bail and ordered his remand. Still at the Federal High Court, Abuja, before Justice James Omotosho, on March 14, 2024, a 17-count charge was filed against Bello and 3 others, including his nephew Ali Bello, for allegedly laundering and misappropriating 84 billion. Bello was declared at large as he failed to appear in court, but the trial proceeded with at least 5 EFCC witnesses. The case remains ongoing. Several related cases involving Bello associates, particularly his nephew Ali Bello, before Justice Obiora Egwatu. Ali Bello and 3 others faces 18-count charges of money laundering and misappropriation exceeding 3 billion. Testimony from a Bureau de Change operator described how Ali Bello brought $300,000 in cash for school fees payments for Yahaya Bello's daughters. Before Justice James Omotosho, another 10-count charge accuses Ali Bello and 2 others of misappropriating over 10 billion in public funds. The case is also ongoing. According to an online news, People's Gazette, during a recent All Progressive Congress rally in Lokoja, Yahaya Bello, despite embroiled in a 190 billion corruption trial, publicly thanked President Bola Ahmed Tinubu for his support to Kogi State, including increased financial allocation. Meanwhile, the EFCC has reiterated that Yahaya Bello remains innocent until proven guilty in court. According to the EFCC Director of Public Affairs, Wilson Uwajain, criminal prosecutions in Nigeria are often lengthy, requiring substantial evidence and witness testimonies before reaching a verdict.
Every Nigerian is vulnerable to the temptation that comes with corruption. Corruption's temptation is very strong. It comes armed. The money with corruption, the muscles with corruption is far more higher, stronger than the one the anti-corruption machine is armed with. The machinery fighting corruption is hungrier than corruption.
Okay.
Corruption is more well-fed than the machinery fighting. No matter how stupid any corrupt man is, if he's going with billions of naira, be sure that he will have part of that billion aside to fight and defend the corruption. Part of the defense is protraction, delay of the trial. If you were a poor man, you cannot resist arrest the way Yahaya Bello resisted arrest. They will come and put you in sack, throw you at the back of a pickup and drag you to a police station. The only thing that is working for Bello is the money. It's not nothing else. It's money, because corruption is stronger in the fight than the justice system.
Welcome from that break. It's still Code Files on Third Eye Africa TV. And if you had followed me from my introduction and watched the prologue that I have just played for you, you'll be fully abreast with what we'll be talking about today on the show. The program is Code Files, and as the name goes, you know it deals with cases, unresolved cases, numerous unresolved cases, prolonged trials in our courts. And one of those cases that will be under review today is the alleged 110.4 billion fraud ongoing trial of former Kogi State Governor in the person of Yahaya Bello. And like I said, I'm not going to be doing this alone. I have a wonderful guest with me in the studio, a legal practitioner who has joined me to do a quick review of the case in question since onset. My guest is no other person but Abubakar Animiokhali. He's a legal practitioner, and he has joined me in the studio today. You are welcome to the program, sir.
Thank you very much.
It's a pleasure to have you on the show today.
I think it's my pleasure. Thank you very much. And I realized on time that it will be difficult to escape your...
My calls, because I kept, bombarding you with calls.
Monitoring you till this very afternoon.
Absolutely, absolutely. Thank you for coming, sir.
Thank you, sir.
All right, so let's just move straight to what we have at hand today. What's your take on, numerous corruption, criminal and fraud cases that have continued to, linger in our courts?
Well, you see that delays in criminal trials, including even civil trials, delays in our court proceedings, or let me say criminal justice system, did not start today.
Okay.
It's just that it's getting worse today. Far back in the early days of the country, especially after independence, it wasn't like this. But over the years, because of the criminal tendency of citizens, cases arrive the courts more than they are dispensed.
Okay.
And if that occurs, if that is the situation,
okay,
it's just a matter of time. You have backlog of cases
okay
at the docket. Now, far back, I remember far back in the 70s, for instance, cases were even struck out on the basis that they have overstayed before judgment. One particular case, for example, was the case of Justice Ahmed
okay.
and Ogiro
okay.
in 1972. The case lingered for 17 years and 9 months from inception to judgment. The Supreme Court said, no, you can't tell us that in a case that lingered for this long, there was still justice. The case was remitted back to the trial court to be retried. After that first case, the second experience the delay has caused in the proceedings of criminal trial is as demonstrated in the case of Ayambi and the state, which was a 1982 case, where the Supreme Court says that for a trial to have continued for 2 years and more was too long a time for the defender to get justice. So if the court was that serious with against delays then,
Okay.
one is surprised these days now you have cases lasting for decades. Then we're talking about just 2 years and months. Now we're talking about decades.
Yeah.
You know, and you know, one of the cases that had that could be cited as one of the longest trial cases in recent times was the case of Mustafa and Shofolahan
Yeah.
and the others in the case of the mother of the wife of the
MKO.
MKO Abiola. That case lingered for 12 years. Now, the next one that is almost as long is that of Nnamdi Kanu, which is 10 years and a month
Okay.
in trial.
How about Sambo Dasuki?
Okay, look at that one is still ongoing.
It's ongoing.
And if this one, that of Nnamdi Kanu, for example, that has been decided, if they go on appeal now, you know, it's going to be longer than
Absolutely.
the 10 years.
Absolutely.
So, and there are many factors that are responsible for all these things. Everybody is involved, including the media.
Okay.
Yes, the lawyers are involved, the judges are involved, the government is involved, the society are involved in the delays of cases.
Okay.
So we will not be able to, we will not be fair to anybody if we hit the blame on one person's doormat.
Okay.
For example, you know, the courts, some judges are obviously lazy.
Okay.
Yes, some judges are lazy. Some are hardworking. A lazy judge, for instance, can dwell on one case, maybe just for a testimony to be for the testimony of a witness.
Of a witness.
He will write. It will take a lazy judge longer time, naturally, to record the testimony of a witness than it will take a hardworking or industrious judge. And every other thing will be affected as well.
Okay.
The way the judge will listen, the way he will record, the way he will conduct the case generally.
Okay.
Now, some judges are not lazy, but they waste time.
Okay.
There are some judges, we know of some judges in this FCT, for example, and they also exist elsewhere, not only FCT.
Okay.
They will expend the time of the court telling irrelevant stories.
Okay.
I know of a particular judge that will use the time of the court to be preaching religion, and you know that religion is not part of this business.
Okay.
This is justice.
Yeah.
And you have people whose trial is hanging over their heads, and they go back home every day worried about what will happen the next day. You are telling stories, and you know nobody is in that court to hear
Stories.
preachings or stories. Judges to learn to keep their stories to themselves. Do this business that you are called for. Then the lawyers also believe that somehow, if a case is delayed, anything can happen. And
Absolutely.
it is true. Because if a case is delayed long enough, so many things can happen. For example, you know, in our jurisdiction in this country, if a judge is elevated,
Okay.
or retired,
Okay.
or in any way at all incapable of performing his job again,
Okay.
that case goes to another judge and it's going to start de novo. That means it's going to start afresh. No matter how far the
other judge
case
has gone. Yeah.
I have done a case that was repeatedly adjourned for judgment.
Okay.
And this adjournment lasted for 1 year. Repeated adjournment. We adjourned for 1 year for judgment to be delivered. At the end of the day, the judge retired. We went to another court to start afresh. For the case to be mentioned again, testimony will be taken again. At the end of the day, the litigants were tired. They were settled by tiredness. They called themselves to we advise ourselves. We advise them, say, look, you can see that this thing is not going anywhere. So they have to settle themselves. And even when they settled, we drafted what is called terms of settlement, which will normally be filed and presented before the court to be adopted by the parties. To have that time to adopt that terms of settlement was another ball game entirely. Was another story. To get the date where this judge will sit, so that we adopt it and the matter will come to an end was another problem. So there are so many
Factors.
other things. So that is part of the lawyers. And you don't blame the lawyer. You don't blame the lawyer because sometimes when a lawyer comes to court, besides the technical know-how of the law,
Okay.
there's also the wit.
Okay.
There are other things, the smartness and everything. So if, for example, there's a delay in the trial and something happened that could make maybe the decision of the case favor your client,
Yeah.
maybe so be it. Some lawyers do adopt that system, but it can happen both ways anyway. So it's a gamble.
So the delay tactics is there from the lawyers too.
Everywhere, even the court system, our court system, the Nigerian court system, it's designed in a way to cause delay.
Okay.
Yes, some courts are not comfortable for judges. They are not comfortable for the court staff. Even the court staff also have their own contribution to the delays of the cases. Because if, for example, you know your judge, there are judges that can only handle maybe 10 matters in a day. They are exhausted.
Yeah.
And when lawyers mount pressure on court registrar, some of those court registrars, they will smuggle more cases into the court's list. And at the end of the day, the judge may not be able to
attend to those cases.
Attend to all of the cases. And you have some cases, and what thing that usually happen again is that sometimes the judges, they don't mention case according to priorities of filing.
Okay.
Some judges will mention the case based on the pressure from the lawyers. Maybe we have about 10 cases before a court.
Okay.
Now, my case might be for hearing. Your own might be for mention. And maybe we have about 5 of those cases for mention.
Okay.
Mention means that the first time the case will come, then we ask whether parties have been served, or if it is the district court, then whether the man is liable or not liable. Hear the response. Then if it is a criminal matter, whether it's guilty or not guilty. So if that matter comes, my own that is for hearing, what most courts do, which of course is ideal, is to first of all mention those cases that are for mention, so that those lawyers will decongest the
courtroom. Yeah.
Then the one for hearing. And it may happen that you have so many cases to be mentioned that day, because every day cases
are coming
more than the cases that have been dispensed. Now, if the court may use half of the day's sitting time to mention
some
cases, because some of those cases that are for mention, before you know it, little arguments will come in.
Absolutely.
With the lawyers.
Yeah.
And before you know it, time have been expended in just mention, and the day will be gone. Those matters that are for hearing will not go on that day. Then secondly, like yesterday and today, now I was in court yesterday at Duse Alaji, District Court of FCT.
Okay.
Today I was in Cairo. What happened? I was not told. I always advise courts, say, please create WhatsApp platform for lawyers so that you can communicate with them easily. I got to Duse Alaji to meet that massive renovation of the courthouses are going on. All the matters that were to go on this January now cannot go
pending.
on. No date was given us yesterday. We have to wait until the renovation work is finished before any matter will go on there. Even though I saw some courts, they were operating under the mango trees. That is to make sure at least something happens, so that there will be, you see what the courts are bending over backward to do, to make sure that the delay is not much. They were sitting under the mango trees.
Here in FCT?
Here in FCT, yesterday, at Duse Alaji. Then I was in Cairo today, roundabout court. The courts are not sitting, they are renovating everywhere. So all this one will only transmit to delay of trial. Remember, some suspects, some defendants in criminal trials, they are supposed to have their case tried today.
Absolutely.
It cannot happen. No date whatsoever. If you are in remand, you continue to be in remand. No date. If you are a suspect being detained,
you continue to remain in detention.
No solution until there's supposed to be alternative arrangements.
Yes.
Because the government did not just wake up and begin to renovate those buildings today or yesterday. They foresaw it, they planned it, now they are executing it.
Couldn't have that been done when the court was on recess or during the holidays?
No, the whole court cannot be on recess at the same time.
Yeah, but we had the short the holiday that just took place for festive period.
I said massive renovation.
Massive renovation,
yes,
yeah.
Which involved the roof, the entire courtroom, the walls, and so on. So electrical fittings and everything. So it's not going to be very easy. What I felt should have been done is that, for example, if we are talking about the Duse Alaji, we first of all renovate one building.
Part, yeah.
Then the other building, the courts can be managing the building, even though it's very difficult. Why is it difficult? Remember, every court have its own records, files, its own
records,
shelves, its own records. So you cannot pack your
records and go
and join them to another court's own, because that court does not have accommodation for your own records. You have even no court have enough accommodation in FCT for their files, for their everything. No court. So if they are collapsing your court 1 to court 2, it's not possible. So maybe what would have been done, they will shift the documents to elsewhere. Then the court can now manage to share the remaining courtrooms, so that, however it is, the wheel of justice is still moving forward. You will not have a total halt of trial and total halt of proceedings pending when those people who may not understand the sensitive nature of the people that are in remand, the people that are in detention, and the people that are in cell, that their liberty and their convenience and their comfort depends on how they speed up their work. So that is you see, that is the side of the government, and the side of the lawyer, the side of the judges, then the registrars, the court staff. So once in a while now, if anything happens, they go on strike.
Absolutely.
When the staff of court go on strike, there's nothing the judge can do. The judge cannot do anything.
But the judge depends. Yeah.
So, and people's cases will be delayed. So it's a kind of, we cannot, you can't.
It's multifaceted. It's a multifaceted challenge that we have.
Yes.
Yeah, we have when it comes to delay in trial. Even without some of these challenges that you have outlined, we have observed that without this challenge, we still have these delays. For example, let's come back to the case in question today. You will recall that throughout the whole of 2025, this case only occurred like twice in court, and it started from 2024 when the EFCC was trying to arrest him, and he was covered up with the influence of the governor and all of that.
Covered him with his own immunity.
Yes. So now, can you give us just a brief perspective in the case and trial of former governor of Kogi State, Yahaya Bello, over the alleged 110 billion fraud from the some of the points that you have just raised now surrounding his arrest and all of that?
You see, one of the things, our politicians, not just let me say Nigerians are very smart when it comes to cutting corners.
Okay.
Nigerians are very smart. And what I felt the former governor of Kogi State, Yahaya Bello, was doing is to see whether he can manipulate the system.
Okay.
Corruption doesn't lie down for you to fight it. It fights back. And corruption oftentimes have more arsenal to fight more than justice. Because we are talking about money looted, billions of naira.
Yeah.
The average, no matter how stupid any corrupt man is, if he's going with billions of naira, be sure that he will have part of that billion aside to fight
and defend
and defend the corruption. And part of the defense, like I've said before, part of the defense is protraction, delay of the trial. Delays of the trial is part of the defense, especially when the case is so hopeless, when evidence are glaring, overwhelming. You resort to delay. You begin to use all manipulations. Imagine getting a sitting governor who enjoys immunity, constitutional immunity, to cover you to an invitation.
Evade arrest.
Well, how is that done? So you can see how far corruption can go to defend itself. So I think what was happening was that Yahaya Bello was trying to see how anything can just happen in the course of delaying the continuity, the commencement of the justice system on him. So he tried all the shenanigans. Even at the end of the day, you will agree with me that the trial that was later commenced, it was commenced like, what do we do? Let's just
start something
and say, let the world just see that
something is
happening.
Being done.
You know, honestly, it's not supposed to be like that. And for a whole year, how many sittings?
I think just about twice.
Let's say about 3.
Yeah.
What happened? And that is how the case will continue. I heard now, you can see that he's gunning for the
senatorial
seat now.
Yes, I was coming to that.
If he gets it, to hell with the trial. That is just it. To hell, and you know, this our Senate is another. I don't want to go there now. It's another area, another ball game altogether, another pot of kettle of fish. We don't want to talk about that. Now, if he manages like this, the case delays till before election, and the election is conducted, and he goes in there, he will not have power, muscle. And you know, the truth about fighting corruption again is that the machinery fighting corruption, however you look at it, whichever area or whichever angle you look at it, the machinery fighting corruption is hungrier than corruption.
Okay.
Corruption is more well fed than the machinery fighting. What do I mean by that?
I was going to ask you that.
Yes. The money with corruption, the muscles with corruption is far more higher, stronger than the one the anti-corruption machine is armed with. Now, the police will be the one to arrest the former governor of Kogi State. Who is the police, for God's sake? When it comes to the amount of money we are talking about. And nobody will tell me, and I won't believe that after taking that money, purportedly anyway, that Yahaya Bello will just invest that money and he doesn't have anything to fight back with right now. So if police come, we are Nigerians for God. We know what Nigerians are possible of. When police come, Yahaya Bello can interact with them. So you have gone to arrest me. Okay, I will come. Just go, I will come. Or they can speak a different language. You know, and if that happens, is it not court they are going to? Because he's also manned by human beings. There's hardly any Nigerian that is on salary that is receiving enough money to sustain him or her. So every Nigerian is vulnerable to the temptation that comes with it. Look, corruption's temptation is very strong. It comes armed. It takes special grace of God and principle to withstand the corruption that comes from the temptation that comes from corruption. So you can just see it in this, what is happening with the Yahaya Bello's case. It's not, if you were a poor man, you cannot resist arrest the way Yahaya Bello resisted arrest. They will come and put you in sack, throw you at the back of a pickup and drag you to a police station. You will be there until when the man that will interrogate you will have the chance. Will now invite you. They will bring you before they invite you. But look at this person. They almost went to interview Bello in his house by the grace of the wealth he has amassed. So all these things, they will add up. The only thing that is working for Bello is the money. It's not nothing else. It's money, because corruption is stronger in the fight than the justice system.
Okay, now that brings me to the next question, which is about the prosecution agencies that we have, talking about be it the EFCC, the ICPC, the DSS, the NDLEA in some cases that also involve so many high-profile cases. The last time we talked about the NDLEA here was when we were talking about the case involving NDLEA versus Abakari. That's another case that has lingered for long. You know, now, looking at the prosecution agencies, when it comes to investigation and arrest, do you think what's your perception? Do you think they do enough diligence? And in terms of the muzzle you talked about corruption having and the agencies fighting corruption having?
The fact is, it's very pathetic, sir. See, the police will always want to investigate. From my own experience, I've discovered that the average investigating police officer wants to conduct an investigation that will make Nigeria applaud
Him or her.
Yes. But oftentimes, the IPO is not funded. The team is not funded.
Okay.
The investigation is not funded.
Okay.
Yes. And some of these IPOs, those teams, they use their money. When they can't use their money, they force the complainant to fund the investigation.
Yeah.
And if the complainant cannot fund the investigation, what do you expect? Like I said just now, there's no salaried Nigerian that is receiving enough that can sustain him. Now, the police is not exempted. Now, from that salary that is not sustaining the police man,
he's also vulnerable.
You now want him to use
be diligent.
To even some police, you go to a police station, they don't have the paper to write statement. You know, I remember there was a long period, even in the FCT courts, so especially the district courts I'm talking about, they don't have files. You as a litigant, when you file a case, you give them money to buy file that they will put your processes. That is how poor it is. So poverty, I don't know whether it is a deliberate poverty. Poverty is one of the instruments that is holding the justice system down. So when you talk about this pre-judicial system, the investigation, all these things, the arrest and so on, there are situations even that where the police will make an arrest, they don't have what it takes to detain that person in the cell because the person must eat. They even to fuel the vehicle to go and effect arrest. Sometimes they don't have their vehicles are not fueled. So all this, if your vehicle is not fueled for you, what do? You
have to find other alternatives.
That is why you see some of them, they use their vehicles. Some of them use the vehicles they have impounded to do the investigation. If you come and report a case, you will pay, you must contribute. There's no justice that doesn't take money in this country from the complainant. Criminal justice. It doesn't happen. Because the fund is not there. The police, the prosecution of crime is poorly funded.
Okay, just hold your thoughts there. In the last 25 minutes or thereabouts, if you have missed out from this half part of this program, please ensure you don't miss out in the next half that we're going to be going into, which is going to be dwelling on the fight against corruption and the challenges before the judiciary. And I have been in the studio in the last 25 minutes or thereabouts with a very learned friend of mine, a senior friend for that matter, because when I say a friend of mine, I didn't mean to equate myself to him. And in the person of Abubakar Animyokali, who is a legal practitioner and has joined me to do a review of the case involving the former governor of Kogi State in the person of Yahaya Bello in the alleged fraud that involves 110 billion. It's actually multiple charges. One of the charges is the 110 billion. There's another 80 billion somewhere, over 80 billion in another place. I think there are about 3 or 4 different cases pending, about 3 pending at the Federal High Court and 1 before Justice Marian Aneni at the FCT High Court. But we're just going to take a quick break so that we'll come back and continue this conversation in the second half of the program. The program is Code 5 and this is Third Eye Africa TV. Don't go away, we'll be back shortly.
I report. Have you ever witnessed a crime or suspicious activity around you? Don't stay silent. Take action. You can now report crimes easily by sending videos to us on iReport. Record a video and a brief narration of the incident with the location and send to 0701 372 8007 on WhatsApp only. Your action could help save a life or stop a crime in progress. Stay alert, stay safe, be the voice, take a stand. iReport only on Third Eye Africa.
Welcome back from that quick break. It's still Cold Files on Third Eye Africa TV. And I have with me in the studio a very senior friend of mine who is a learned friend and a legal practitioner, Abubakar Animiokhali, who has joined me to do a review of one of the numerous unresolved cases in our courts today, and of course, the challenges before the judiciary when it comes to justice dispensation in Nigeria. So we thank you again for your time time with us on this program.
Thank you very much.
All right, before we went on that break, you were driving home a point that I was going to ask a follow-up question on, which is public perception about the justice delivery in Nigeria. What can the judiciary really do to enhance this process of justice delivery in their own parts?
I think the solution to solving this problem lies more on the government.
Okay.
Yes, and not the judiciary itself.
Some people have this school of thought of the opinion that independence of the judiciary is supposed to be one of the first practical steps to resolving this.
Well, one thing I also get to understand about Nigerians is that ignorance is very loud in this country.
Okay.
Louder than knowledge.
Okay.
Yes. You see, the average Nigerian goes about with ignorance that he's so proud of. You see, very proud ignorance.
Okay.
When ignorance, very loud ignorance, that when such ignorance speaks, knowledge will begin to
take the back seat.
Yes, begin to take the back seat as if there are so many things that people don't understand.
Okay.
When you talk about the independence of the judiciary, to a very large extent, the Nigerian judiciary is independent and is very courageous. Okay. Yes. It's just that in Nigeria, we have a very terrible culture. And this culture cuts across our everyday life to our professional life. What is this culture? Not until the system favors you, you don't believe it's fair.
Okay.
Yes. It's very much pronounced in our political life.
Okay.
Not until a candidate wins an election, he doesn't believe that the system was free, fair,
and
credible and acceptable. No. Until he wins. And when he wins, the other man will also
go to court.
Yes, that is why we always go to court, and it's good for us, the lawyers. So, but now, when they go to court, for instance, when litigants go to court, the moment the litigant, even lawyers are not free from this problem.
Okay.
When some lawyers, when litigants go to court, you defend a litigant, and the judgment is against the litigant, rather than own up and let the litigant understand where you didn't do well, where that other lawyer, the one that got judgment against you, did well better, you will say, they may have gone to see the judge. That it vexes me that most lawyers will say such things, especially the younger lawyers. They don't lose case on the fair ground. It is always because the other parties, maybe they went to see the judge. Why can't we? Must you win a case? Must you win an election? When two parties contest, the better organized prevails. That is the nature. That is the law of nature. When two parties interact, the better organized must prevail. Okay. When two lawyers do a case, the better organized must prevail.
Okay.
Yes. So it is not true that the judiciary is not independent.
Okay.
That is the common perception out there, and that perception is powered and fed by ignorance.
Okay.
Most of the people that go to court, they don't even understand how the court works, not to talk of people that didn't go to court.
Okay.
So, and you know that majority of Nigerians don't want to have any business to do with the court because they have this false impression that after the court, it might be prison. Many Nigerians don't know the difference between criminal trial, criminal case, and civil case. No, they just know that court. No. Some Nigerians, some everyday citizen, when they see a lawyer like this, they see the lawyer as troublemaker. They said all lawyers are liars. You now ask them, do lawyers testify in court? Oh, is it not the person that testified that you lie? So that is just the general perception. So I believe that to a very large extent, the judiciary is independent. Yes, there's no absolute independence anywhere. It doesn't happen. What do I mean by that? There's a limit to every independence.
Yeah.
So long you are not the country yourself.
You can't exist in isolation.
Of course, you can't exist now. And so many factors come to add to the determination of a case. You will understand some, even as a lawyer, you will not understand some. So if you as a lawyer will understand some, and you will not understand some, not to talk of the layman, but the major problem is the lawyer. Those marketing that false impression to laymen that there's no independent of the judiciary, they are the lawyers. How do we help the reputation of the judiciary to be sustained or to be boosted? Let people go to court. If not as a litigant, as an observer. Go and observe what is happening. If you understand it enough, you will know that the man that have lost, I want to venture to say that 99% of cases are decided on merit, lost and won on merit. It's very difficult for a judge to manipulate case. It's very difficult. Some of those cases, that is why even if the trial court decides a case, you have the appellate court, you appeal. Then if the Court of Appeal now agrees with the decision, that is why it is always, the Supreme Court is always very reluctant to overturn the decision of the trial court and the Court of Appeal. Because where two persons are now saying the same thing, it is likely that the third person who is appealing against these two judgments is wrong, person wrong. So it is not, that is just it.
Okay, so now talking about corruption trials, because we discovered that the corruption and criminal trials, it depends on the level. We seems to be paying more attention to that as against the other, regular or minor cases that has contributed more than 90% of the inmates that are awaiting trial in our correctional centers today. How can we begin to also address that?
I think most of the factors that affect the corruption trial, they also affect the civil and the other minor criminal trials.
Yeah.
But the problem is that why that of the corruption trial seems to be more present, more visible, is because they are often involve the big shots. You are talking about 110 billion.
Yeah.
Can you imagine that kind of money? Even if the man did not.
That is just in one of the charges.
One of the charges. There's another 80.2.
There's another 80.4.
80.4. Yeah. Some of us cannot imagine this thing. Now you are talking about people. The delay is everywhere. Actually, there are sometimes. I have a case I'm doing now. I came into that case some time ago. What happened? This boy was returning from his village when he went to treat himself with his bag, traveling bag, and plantain bunch. He dropped from the vehicle. Unfortunately for him, that time police were raiding that area. Okay. They picked him up. But you know the system we are. because of one thing, refusal to take one step or the other. They moved him. They wanted to force him to say he was a robber. At a point, he was broken down psychologically, and he didn't he just down the consequences and agreed. But fortunately for him, the people they who arraigned him, they said they don't know him. The robbers they arraigned him with, they said they don't know him. He's not part of them. So that is where we are. So all those, there are many people like that they are in cell, in remand, in detention for suspicions. But again, you can't say that for every arrest made, the police should just use his discretion to say, you go, this stay. No. I believe that for every offense that is suspected, it should be investigated. And if found wanting, it should be tried, prosecuted, and penalized. That is how it should be. But again, like I said before now, the system is poorly funded. No enough money to carry out all the investigation, especially as at when due. So if the investigation is delayed, somebody will be held longer than necessary, and trial will be delayed. Sometimes, remember, apart from those small crime being so many, there are many because they are more common. At least, I'm not sure you have up to a case of fraud like this of 110 billion for 80.4 billion, 80.2 billion. Don't have them up to 3 in Nigeria. But if you talk about,
we might have more, the ones that are in the eyes, in court. Yeah.
But if you talk about stealing a phone, for example, it will be rampant.
Yeah.
So you have all those cases, very many. They are everyday crime. So the more like you have the cases coming into court, to the court docket, the more the cases that are leaving the police station to the court, they are fewer than the cases that are coming in. More cases are coming in and less are going out. So you expect that there will be backlog. Then again, there are times, I remember there was one time, the case I just mentioned about somebody returning from the village. There was a day they were supposed to come to court. The vehicle broke down between Kefi and Maraba. So that day now would be wasted. Then there was a day we were in court. The fan were not working because there was no light, and everybody was sweating. And the judge had to adjourn. And no, you don't blame anybody. People we agree that they should adjourn. And there are times the judge may not be well. The judge have to be well to do a case. So the little cases we have, they call them petty crime. They are coming in quantum, coming every day. Every day. If you go to a police station, it's very busy next to hospital. So, and for every person you see that is not a police, is not a relation of a suspect, is a suspect at the police station.
Yeah.
So they are always coming and coming. So it is just there like that.
All right. So as we begin to wind down, let me just ask you in your parting shot, what are your recommendations on how to improve justice dispensation in Nigeria, since we have about the problems from funding, from the arrests, and all of that. So where do we go from here?
I think there is the need to more employment. Besides that, more courts should be created. I think there should be specialized courts.
That was what I was going to ask. You think we need special courts to try some special cases?
Yes, I think so. We need special courts. Special courts should be created so that we get justice. Justice is for the living. It's not. Look, there are people that are suffering. Their suffering has surpassed what the law prescribed for the offenses they committed.
Like a man that was wrongly accused of molesting a child that spent close to 9 years in detention and was just released, and is an old man.
There is a case, I can't remember now. The man spent 17 years in prison. He was wrongly convicted. You know, so
And what kind of compensation would you be giving
what
the
kind
man?
of compensation? What kind of compensation can compensate you for 1 day imprisonment? It's not there. You can't buy somebody's liberty. So, specialized courts should be created, more judges should be employed, there should be more courts. There should be more courts so that it is better we have idle courts than we have courts that are busy to sickness. So those are, I think, are the solution. Then investigation should be funded because it is criminal justice is very expensive, especially on the part of government, because you see how much should be invested into try a single suspect, a single defendant. And at the end of the day, because investigation was not properly conducted, few questions from the defense counsel destroy the evidence built by the prosecution. So, and that would be gone. There are so many people walking away from the offenses they committed simply because there was no
proper investigation.
And there can be no proper investigation without funding. So if the police system is funded, then the courts, specialized courts are created, more judges are employed. I think it will go a long way to solve the problem of delay of the justice system.
All right, that's a good place to pause it. And I think I said earlier that it's going to be a continuous conversation with minds like you, because we have just done like almost an hour, and it looks as if we have not exhausted all we had to say. So it means that we'll definitely come back from another perspective to continue this issue of justice dispensation in Nigeria. I want to sincerely thank you, Mr. Abubakar Ali Mokali, a legal practitioner who has found time to join me on the program today, irrespective of your busy schedule. I hope when we call you next time, you'll find time to join us again to look at some other issues.
Thank you very much. I will always be ready to be available.
All right. And that is where we will draw the curtain on the program today, Code Files. And Code Files will come your way again on this station, same time. And don't forget, security is everyone's business. If you see something, please say something. And don't forget to always use our iReports platform to report any suspicious movement in your area. If you can take a video, you're in a safe place to take a photo, or if you can simply just get in touch with us at Third Eye Africa TV. We are the #1 crime watch channel in the whole of Africa. And our business is investigation and crime prevention, of course, community safety. And this is where I'll be calling it a date on the program today. My name remains Charles Agedu. Keep watching Third Eye Africa TV.